Hey there, Heather, ho there, Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome you to a brand new Stone Cold hockey season and a brand new playthrough. We're doing the 83-84 playthrough. We've already done 1965, we've already done 1968, we've already done 1971, we've done three WHA seasons. We've done the 1975 NHL season, the 79 NHL season, and the 82 NHL season. Well, of course, 65 with the Leafs trying to go for the four-peat, 68 with St. Louis being the first expansion team to make the final because of the way the divisions were. So everyone in Montreal seeing how Ken Dryden would do in his rookie campaign. 75 Flyers, the Prospect Bullies think 79 with the did I say the record? What did I do in 1979? Oh, Boston for Don Cherry. See if I could save Don Cherry's job. 1982 with the Islanders to see if they would three-peat. And now I'm doing 1983-84 as the Edmonton Oilers for the high scoring offense and the chance to destroy the Islanders' drive for five. 83-84 looks a little different with the divisions. It's a 5-5-5-6 thing instead of 6-5-5-5. Major difference between 1982 and 1984 on the standing side is Winnipeg is in the Smythe division, not the North division. While Colorado was in the Smythe division, but because Colorado moved to New Jersey to become the Devils, they were put in the Patrick division. So yeah, so the North lost a team to the Smythe, and the Smythe lost a team to the Patrick. So the North is St. Louis, Detroit, Chicago, Minnesota, Toronto. The Smythe, Calgary, Winnipeg, Vancouver, Edmonton, Los Angeles, Adams, Boston, Quebec, Buffalo, Hartford, Montreal, and the Patrick, Rangers, Pittsburgh, Islanders, New Jersey, Washington, Philly. The big story from 83-84 for each division. Well, Pittsburgh and New Jersey were the big city. The big thing, it was called the Turtle Derby to see who would get the number one pick, which would end up being Mario Lemieux. Both teams actually threw in some not so talented goalies to try to lose, but Pittsburgh lost out and gained Mario Lemieux. Their franchise almost got ruined. In the Adams division, the big story was Quebec Montreal in the Bataille Saint Vendredi, or the Good Friday battle, like the Good Friday brawl. But what's even more impressive was Montreal with Steve Penny coming out freaking nowhere to be the Montreal goalie savior. Well, can't really say that savior in a sense, but the fact that Steve Penny got a team. Montreal was 5 games below 500, which was not Montreal esque, and in the Smythe division we had Edmonton doing quite well, 83-84, and in the North it was just the black and blue division. Okay, you got your standings, you got your teams, and of course, this is the team we're going with. We have a two goalie system, and all these players. Highlights, of course, have not happened yet. So let's start. Edmonton does not play on day one. Islanders Quebec played day one. Quebec wins 6-2 in a shocker as Billy Smith lost to Ford. Who the hell is Ford for Quebec? Islanders goals by Brent Sutter and Clark Gillies. Quebec goals by Peter Stastny, Paymont, Andre Savard, Wally Weir, and Tony McAgney. Pittsburgh St. Louis and the other lead lifter, St. Louis wins 3-2. A big win for Leo O'Hara in overtime heroics by Jorgen Pettersson from Bothwell and Rob Ramage. Oh yeah, there's another big difference between the 84 season and the 82 season. Because we're in the first season that there's regular season overtime. That's right. There used to be regular season overtime before 1942. And of course, World War II happened and they had to cut down on travel. So, no regular season overtime. They didn't start out until 1983. That's right. 1983-84 was the first season in which regular season overtime came back to the NHL. And St. Louis is the first one in universe. We are playing Toronto our first game. Wow. Buffalo crushing Hartford 10-3. I feel bad for Greg Millen. Well, he's dead in real life this year, but he gave up 10 goals to Andrechek, Ramsey, Real Cloutier, Ramsey, Tucker, Kitchener, if you didn't know. Real Cloutier again. Third, Andrechek, McKenna, and Andrechek for the hat trick. St. Louis, Chicago. St. Louis is now 2-0. Minnesota beats LA. Rangers beat New Jersey. Calgary wins in overtime over Vancouver. Overtime heroics by Kent Nielsen. And Winnipeg beats Detroit. So we are hosting Toronto. Andy Moog, the backup to Grant Fuhr, but he's starting this game against Alan Bester, a teenager. Toronto really going with teenagers in net and on the ice. Alan Bester, there were 5 goalies. They got Mike Palmateer, the Popcorn Kid, back for a while. Then Rick St. Croix, Ken Reggett, and Bruce Dowie. Yeah, Ken Reggett was a Toronto Maple Leaf. He was traded to Philly in 1989 for a draft pick, I think. Or was it another player? I can't remember. So anyway, our team, Edmonton, we have the great one, Wayne Gretzky, scoring prowess and all that. Glenn Anderson in right wing, good player himself. Yari Curry from the Fabulous Finn. Paul Coffey, Kitchener. That's right. Look at your research. Paul Coffey, for half a season in 1980, was a Kitchener Ranger, and that's what the draft year. Mark Moose Messier. Well, he was playing left wing at the time because of Gretzky, but Messier would turn into a center and become a pretty good player, but he was Gretzky's second banana, if you will. Pat Hughes, Dave Hunter, Willie Lindstrom, Ken Linsman, the Rat. Yes, the Rat. Randy Gregg, Dr. Randy Gregg. He was a certified doctor. Euro Pusar, Charlie Huddy, good defenseman. Don Jackson, good defenseman. Dave Lumley, Dave Semenko, the policeman. Lee Fogelin Jr., Tom Rolston, Kevin Lowe, great defenseman. Pat Conacher, Rick Chartra, Kitchener. People forget that Rick Chartra was a Kitchener Ranger. Ken Barry, Raymond Suman, and Jim Playfair, who was embarrassed when he was an AHL coach and he had that meltdown. Toronto. They have Rick Five, the first 50-goal scorer in Leaf history. Bill DeLargo, John Anderson, another Anderson. Dale McCourt. I think he got in trouble in the law as a Red Wing in the 70s. Dan Dost, Greg Terrian, Terry Martin, Jim Benny, Jim Korn. What a weird name. Walt Poondeby, Stewie Gavin, Miro Fraser, Peter Enertrek, Gaston Shingra, the Baby Bull, Billy Harris, the first pick in New York Islanders history, Boyer Salming, a legend, Dave Ferris, Gary Lehman. They put him as a defenseman, but Gary Lehman I know was a right winger. And the second Leaf to get a 50-goal season. Pat Graham, Russ Courtnall, and then the Leafs stupidly traded him to Montreal for John Kordic. Bill Stewart, Gary Nyland, who was injury prone, Frank Migro, Rich Costello, and Dave Hutchison. Hutchison's still on the team. Wow. All right, so the first period, 6 minutes into the game. Now the penalty. It's Benny for 2. Do we take advantage? Linsman. 30 minutes. Moose Messier scores from Linsman and Conacher, 1-0. Head on hit. Connor takes a shot in a check. No. 3 minutes later. They get hit on Semenko, of course. And they can't score. Final moment. The score! Billy Harris. What a job from Five and DeLarco. 1-1 tie. I can't believe he's still playing. Second period. Sir, we've scored. Stu Gavin from Salming. Gavin. 6 minutes later. T-Dot with the penalty. It's Daoust. Power play go. The fabulous spin. Yari Curry Donk. From Goffey and Gretzky. Before again. It's the great one from Fogelin and Curry. Makes it 3-2. Toronto's a chance. No. 5 minutes later, Hutchinson, the old guy. He can't score. But we're up 3-2 after 40 minutes, so I'm not worried. 4 minutes later, they tie score. Daoust from Salming and Terry and makes it 3-3. Oh boy. 3 minutes later, they score. The only coffee I drink is ice caps. And also Kitchener from Conacher and Gretzky makes it 4-3. 2 minutes later. Let's go. Rick 5. Tie her up from Anderson and Gavin 4-4. Oh boy. Firebrand hockey is there, baby. Good. The great one from Hughes and Anderson makes it 5-4. 4 minutes later. Injury? 6-5. I think that's for control. 5 minutes later. Empty nets. No sir. Cannot believe it. The defense works. We win 5-4. A win's a win, baby. Messier, Curry, Gretzky, Coffee, Gretzky. Toronto goes by Harris, Gavin, Dallas, and 5. So we win 5-4. First check on the board. We don't play on the 6th. Boston Crushers go back into fine powder 7-2. Montreal Gagne over the Islanders 5-2. Wow, they're slipping. Philly beats Washington. We go to Winnipeg. Okay. Rangers beat the Devils 5-2. Vancouver beats Minnesota 7-4. And of course, the rules are 3 games minimum. 3 games per video. So we have Grant Fuhr in the net. A couple years removed from being an 18-year-old and helping Edmonton do well, but the miracle in Manchester happened. We'll face Doug Soltart, future Canadian or former Canadian. I think it was future Canadian. Well, anyway, Brian Hayward, another future Canadian. No, I think Soltart was a former Canadian, and then Brian Hayward comes in, future Canadian, and was backup. Mike Pfizer, Mark Burhan, and Ed Stankowski are your backups. Winnipeg has Paul McLean, the Walrus, on right wing. Dale Hawerchuk's in center, who actually helped Winnipeg out after their second season was disastrous. Hawerchuk was drafted number 1 overall, and you knew Winnipeg needed him. Lucien Dabois, Morris Lukowicz, whose brother Ed was a 2-time Canadian champion in curling, once in Kitchener in 1986. Laurie Boschman, Devon Christian. Brian Mullen, I forgot he was a Jet. I know he was a New York Ranger and a New York Islander, Philly. Scott Arniel, Thomas Dean, great Jet playing for only one team in his career. Doug Smale, one scored 5 seconds into a period. Dave Babbage, the number 2 pick in the 1980 draft, when they could have went for Dennis Savard, but they didn't. Mo Mantha, Tim Young, Andrew McBain, Wade Campbell, Robert Picard, former half, Ben Lungholt, Tim Waters, Ron Wilson. I don't know if it's the future head coach. Jim Kite, Don Spring, Brian Maxwell, and Jyrki Seppa. Of course, those are the non-goalies. 4 minutes into the game. Let's go! Nail. Tim Babbage. 3 minutes into the game. Later. And they do score. 2 minutes later. Score! Mr. Hughes from Gretzky and Coffee. Then we score again. Kitchener! Coffee Fooey. Give me an ice cap. His second from Huddy and Low. 4 minutes later. It's hard! Switch from Mantha and Babbage. 4 minutes later. It's good. Double off from Babbage. 32. We tie it at 3. Dave Hunter. Dave Goldhunter, that is, from Semenko and Moose. 3-3. 6 goals in the first period. That's what 80s hockey's like. Aggression? They got too aggressive. It's Tim Waters in the box. Do we have a chance? Messi had a shot, but Hughes stupidly took a penalty. Double no. We killed the zone at least. 5 minutes later. They have a chance, and it's stopped by Fuhr. 2 minutes later. They have a chance. No. 3 minutes later. Brian Mullen from Langholm. 4-3. Only one goal in the second period. That's not our goal. 3 minutes later. Gresham. Well, we lost a defensive PK spot, but Campbell in the box. Anderson gets hit. Damn it. And they lose. Tim Young. Hard. 5-3. We're gonna lose. Question. Conacher. Good. Washington from McDaniel. Can you believe it? We were doing so well, and then we fucked everything up in the last 2 periods. What a first period, though. Coffey, Hughes, and Hunter scored, but Winnipeg scored Smale, Lukowitz, Debois, Mullen, Young, Boschman. 6 different Jets scoring. 6-3. And if you watch my previous series, you know the rule. If I lose a game, I have to simulate the next one. And we don't play on the Saturday, which is weird. Detroit beats the Devils in overtime. Boston beats Hartford. Toronto beats LA in LA. Montreal loses on Hockey Night in Canada to the Flyers. Pittsburgh was in overtime over the Rangers. Quebec beats Buffalo. St. Louis beats Chicago. And now they just keep losing. So we play Sunday night. Well, we host Minnesota, but we can't play Minnesota because of the rule. And we beat Edmonton. Well, Moog beat Meloche. We were actually up 4-0 and nearly choked it. Shortra, Kitchener, Messier, Rolston, and Donnie Jackson scoring, and then Jackson and Curry. Minnesota goes by Marouk, Maxwell, Plett, Bobby Smith, and Cicerelli. So we won, so the next game we must do. Toronto, Vancouver ended up tied. Montreal and Quebec tie in their first battle. Islanders crushed LA 11-1. Laskowski, who the hell is who? Only other goal was by Simmer. Man, Brett Sutter went off on a tangent. 4 goals, 11-1. So our next game is against Detroit. No, we didn't play Detroit, right? No, we didn't. Okay. I thought we were playing Detroit, but we're 2-1. Eddie Moe back in the net against Greg Stefan for Detroit. They have Eddie Mia, the former Ranger goalie, Corrado McAuliffe, and Ken Holland. Yes, that Ken Holland. He was a goalie in the NHL. Can you believe that Ken Holland, the great GM of the Red Wings, was a Red Wings goalie? Nevertheless, John Agrodnik, good guy. I think he had a 50-goal season with the Red Wings, right? Yeah. Steve Yzerman. This is his rookie campaign? Yes, it is. This is Yzerman's rookie campaign. Of course, great player for just one team. Thank goodness for that. Ivan Boldriev, the man from Yugoslavia. Ron Dugai, the former Ranger, Heartfrog. Rui Larson, who had a great shot. Kelly Kissel, future Ranger. Lane Lambert, Danny Gare, former Buffalo icon. Eddie Johnstone, former Ranger. Bob Mano, Dwight Foster, Kitchener. That's right. Dwight Foster, former Kitchener Ranger, who just died this past year. Brad Park is a Red Wing. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Boston let him go in Detroit. Held him for a couple years. Former Ranger as well. So many former Rangers on the Red Wings team. Well, future Rangers in Rodnick and Kissel. But yeah, a lot of Claude Leroy, no affiliation to the Red Wings. Peter Aubrey, Greg Smith, Randy Ladouceur, first captain in Ducks history. Colin Campbell, former Vancouver Canuck. And yes, that Colin Campbell from Disciplinary Action. John Barrett, Joe Patterson, Paul Woods, Brad Smith, Andre Holy St. Laurent, and Murray Craven, future Flyer. The great one, Hussar, in Manila. Much later. Edmonton delivers 2 hits. Detroit gets agitated, and Duguay takes a penalty. 1-0 after 20. 3 minutes into the game. Second. Crap. 2 minutes. Where gets a penalty, it's La 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 Dessert. Ellie Tinkerman, purple power Willie Long Calvin. Ronnie Jackson 1-1. Yep. We Willie Lindstrom. Much later. Action. Jackson, his third from Huddy and Greg. 3 more minutes. Jackson. Bodriff gets hit. Bodriff can't do anything, and Reed Larson's in the box. So we have a chance. Yes, sir. Cup of coffee, Fooey. I want an ice cap. Kitchener. His third from Anderson. Let's just let Ken Holland play in net. We'll give. He wants to play net. Wilson. That's the Vancouver. 5-0. 5 minutes later. Curry gets the start from Dutton. 6-0. Lambert. Shot. Gretzky scores from Anderson and Coffey. 7-0. That's just what we do. Firebrand hockey. 2 minutes later. Lindstrom, no. 7-0. Yawn. I don't think we really had many Detroit chances. Gretzky with a pair. Lindstrom, Coffey, Jackson, Rolston, and Curry with singles. Poussard had a pair of assists. Glenn Anderson had a pair of assists. Whatever. 7-0. That was a little bit of a snooze fest. Boston's still undefeated. They're 4-0. Hartford's still winless. Philly's still undefeated. And LA's 0-5 and St. Louis 4-0-1. So we, New Jersey, they lost again. Saturday night, and we play our provincial rivals the next game. Boston ties, so LA beats Detroit, so winless no more. Flyers finally lose to the Isles. Hartford can't win a game to save their life. St. Louis is now 5-1, and the Leafs won 7-1 on Hockey Night in Canada. So we have to play Calgary. We've got 6 points. We're second of Winnipeg, but Winnipeg's played 6 games. We've only played 4. LA is the only team of us who are fumbling. Minnesota, Detroit, and Chicago are all 1-4. Remember, it's the top 4 per division to make the playoffs. Hartford has yet to get a point. New Jersey's yet to get a point. In the goal scoring department, well, Gretzky isn't really scoring the goals. Don Edwards second. Tom Barrasso, this guy coming up from 83, 84. I thought 84 was when he was drafted. It's not. Yeah, the goals against Vanderman's a 5.3. Steve Weeks 593. Greg Millen at 706. He's played 12 games. I think is Gretzky first in points? No, Fedorko is. Gretzky's second. St. Louis is undefeated. Calgary and Boston. So we'll see what ends up happening next video. Anyhow, I'm Jeff Diamond. Adieu.